As we know, marketing is quite a broad term used by different companies to cover all sorts of different activities and different types of job roles. One common theme throughout all of marketing is creativity, and whether that's the activity of being creative in designing or building something, or thinking creatively for marketing strategy. It's a really important piece of the puzzle within marketing. Now, many marketers have enjoyed the flexibility of remote working, whether that's working from home once a week or working from different sites and different offices and working with different people. But creativity can be spurred on so much more by working as a team in the same place. There's only so far that Zoom calls or Teams calls or anything like that can go in replacing that. We've all been working a lot more from home in the last year or so. And with that in mind, we've come up with 5 tips for working remotely in marketing. Tip 1 is all about getting that work-life balance right. And it's really important to really think this through in terms of how you're going to separate out the work you from the rest of the time you, especially when you're using the same space to live both of those parts of yourself out. So there's a number of things you can do. If you've got the space and you've got a room that you can dedicate as your home office, if you like, then obviously that's a fantastic thing to be able to do. If not, if you can sort of carve out a piece of a room to use as your working space and to sort of steer clear of that when you're not working, then that's obviously fantastic as well. You might go for a walk before you start work so that you've effectively had a commute, if you like. You know, you've walked into work. And get yourself psyched up and into that sort of work mindset. And equally at the other end of the day, it's making sure that you clock off at a reasonable time and make sure you have those kind of hard rules for, I won't go beyond this time on a regular basis. We've all done it, we all go there, but just to make sure that you're separating out your sort of personal life from your working life as effectively as you can do given the circumstances. Tip 2 is about making some time for creative headspace. So it kind of goes a little bit hand in hand with tip 1, but this is during your working day, making sure that you give yourself a break so you're not in the mire of the tactical too much. You've got to make sure that you give yourself the time to think creatively. So if you're at the office, this would be the time that you might chat with a co-worker or go and make a cup of tea and chat with someone there. And when you're working from home, that could be something as straightforward as getting up and walking away from your working space just for a few minutes. It might be going a step further and actually opening the door and going outside and getting some fresh air, whether that's in your own personal garden or a walk around the block, whatever it might be. It might be picking up a book and just reading something that you actually want to read. It might be any number of things, just to give yourself a little bit of that creative headspace. Remember, everyone deserves a break, and you're better off for giving yourself a break than trying to sort of plow on through. Tip 3 is to embrace video calls for now. So again, nothing's going to replace that face-to-face interaction that you get by sitting with someone in an office, but video calls is about as close as we can get for the time being. So make sure that you're spending the time on those calls as effectively as you can. Obviously have an agenda and work towards sort of answering all those sorts of things that you would be talking about in the office, but also give yourself a bit of time extra just to have a catch up and see how people are, because it's all too easy to focus all on the work and not have that element of just the personal side of things. So make sure that you're embracing them as much as you can do for now, until we can get back to seeing each other in person. Tip 4 is to encourage some socially responsible socializing. So again, it's sort of hand in hand with that piece around utilizing the technology we've got for video calls. In the same sort of way, set some calls up that aren't anything to do with work. Set some calls up which you're just going to have a chat about what you've just seen on one of the streaming services, or a movie that's just come out, or a book you've read, or anything, whatever it might be. Fill in the gaps that we've all had in that sort of social side of being able to sit there and have a chat, for a few minutes. Fill that in by setting up something a little bit more structured, but at least that offers you the chance to interact on a human level as opposed to a purely a work level, because that will help to develop those relationships which have been unfortunately affected throughout all of this. And it will help to rebuild those connections. It will help to make sure that everyone recognises that we're all in the same boat and we've all got each other's backs. And finally, leading on from this, tip 5 is about setting realistic expectations of yourself and of the people you work with. It's been tough, there's no way around that. It's been really tough, and it's been incredibly tough for everyone. So set yourself realistic expectations and don't beat yourself up if there's things that don't happen in the same way they would do normally in the office, because it's not a normal time. It hasn't been a normal time for a long time. And I think everyone deserves a little bit of leeway, a little bit of breathing space, because you don't know what people are going through in their own individual circumstances. But we all know that it's been tough for everyone. So there you go, there's 5 tips from people that are just going through this thing as everyone else is. There's lots to learn, I think, from this experience that we've all had to go through. And I think, there's going to be some good time for reflection moving ahead. So look out for each other, look after each other, take care of yourselves.